The Lotus Eaters dropped recently, bringing with it a prologue quest for Warframe 1999. I've listened around, and it seems that the player base is somewhat divided when it comes to this quest, so I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the Lotus Eaters, including why I think it was a great quest and how it fixed a major issue with Warframe's story. So let's get started. I want to begin this discussion by praising the quest's overall atmosphere. Let's go through the quest chronologically. The first scene is you walking out of the sanctum towards the cliff edge where the Lotus is waiting for you. As you walk towards the edge, you hear her singing the iconic "This Is What You Are," the musical piece that is effectively the theme of the Tenno, and of Warframe more broadly. The use of this track is quite fitting. This quest precedes Warframe 1999, an update that heralds a new era of Warframe, and what better way to commemorate a new beginning than the game's most iconic piece of music. From this scene alone, I understood that this was the start of something big, and so I thoroughly enjoyed just this opening sequence already. The next scene is the Drifter following Kalimos through the HÖLLVANIA Central Mall, being led to another pager to establish a link between the past and the present. The mall itself was dark and derelict, but was filled with eerie sounds. This was a place unfamiliar to the Drifter, but in due time they would become very familiar with both the mall and the people who would occupy it. While many players, myself included, had seen this place before, it was nice to see it again. We'll discuss HÖLLVANIA more in just a moment. The final part of the quest is the Lotus urging the Drifter to track down Albrecht and Tradi before the completion screen rolls. Here, you see Albrecht's doppelganger standing in the subway, with a slow chant of Void Tongue evoking a sense of impending doom. Like the beginning, the completion screen helps to illustrate just how significant the upcoming conflict is. Overall, I think the atmosphere was incredibly well put together, so, despite its brevity, it was a great experience. This next point is a very interesting one. When you're prompted to speak to the Lotus, you're given a choice of 6 dialogue options, 3 from the operator and 3 from the Drifter. At first, I thought the choice would only be 1 out of all 6, but I was pleasantly surprised when I realised that both the operator and the Drifter were given a chance to speak. This is a reassuring change from Whispers in the Walls. In that quest, there is no spoken dialogue from either Tenno, which is even stranger when you consider that Whispers in the Walls comes right after the very dialogue-heavy New War. Regardless, I very much appreciate that even a 3-minute prologue was deemed worthy of voiced cutscenes, and that DE haven't completely silenced these characters. After all, they have quite the stories to tell, and quite the stories yet to experience. Now, let's come back to the HÖLLVANIA Central Mall. As fun as it was to see it again in the quest, the reveal may not have been as impactful as the developers intended. The Drifter arriving at the mall is canonically the first time the player has visited 1999, however it doesn't really feel like that considering that many of us, again myself included, were exploring the mall exhaustively for the 10 days it was on the star chart following TennoCon. The wow factor of the mall reveal may have remained intact if the TennoCon relay showcased a different area, or if the relay came after the Lotus Eaters. A third option could even have been for the Drifter to interact with the protoframes in a greater capacity than we did following TennoCon. As upsetting as the lack of reaction for many players is, the mall reveal will still make for an exciting moment for the players who never got to see it the first time. This final point is the biggest reason why I like the Lotus Eaters as much as I do. If you've watched my video about the Drifter, who I consider to be Warframe's greatest character, then you'll know that I dislike how the Drifter has been treated as a character following their debut in the New War. That treatment of course being as a skin for the operator, with there being no functional or narrative difference between the two. However, with the Jade Shadow's quest, things started to change for the better. Regardless of whichever Tenno you had equipped, only the operator was featured in the quest to assist the Stalker. This was the start of separating the two characters once again, and right after that, the Lotus Eaters was the confirmation I so desperately wanted to see. The Drifter was, quite literally, standing side by side with the operator, not in the operator's place. They have once again become an independent character, with their own perspective and role in the Warframe narrative. This also means that the operator's place in the story is once again made consistent. Not only this, but to now know that the Drifter will be the one to return to 1999 is incredibly exciting, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds this December. Overall, I think the Lotus Eaters was a fantastic quest. It was a great experience superficially, it effectively built hype for 1999, and it fixed a major issue with the writing of the game's protagonists. I'm really keen to see what this next era of Warframe has in store for us, and what it has in store for both the operator and the Drifter. What did you guys think of the Lotus Eaters? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. In the next video, we're going to discuss this year's TennoCon and the 1999 gameplay demo that we were shown. More details are to come about that, so stay tuned, and until next time everyone.